Hey guys, it's still Gingy Snaps. Nothing's changed. Except the format of this video. I'm here with Premium Nuba. Let me tell you a story. I started playing when about Demonic Advent came out, and Dominate was kind of like getting its stride, you know? No pun intended. Shut up. And you know, I hated Dominate. Dominate was the vein of my existence. But meanwhile, I am over here playing, you know, the deck formerly known as Mr. Invincible and, you know, Shulgi, like early stages Shulgi. And you know, it just sucked. Every time. Hated it. Every single time people were like, wow, Chaos is fucking destroying the meta. I'm like, I would honestly rather face Chaos, like, when it was, like, at its height than I would Dominate. But now time's passed. We're an older, wiser player. And honestly, if you've ever seen Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, I feel like I'm now the quote that Obi-Wan says to Anakin while on Mustafar, being like, and now you've become the very thing you swore to destroy. And I'm just like, yeah, but, you know, I wanted a deck. Because the whole reason why I picked up Nubatama was because, yeah, Grand Blue's cool and all, but I want a deck that, you know, makes me use my brain more, as opposed to being like, mill 4 and then go Unga Bunga. You know, like, simple stuff like that. Like, I'm good with Grand Blue, and I love Grand Blue, but there was a point where I'm just like, I don't feel like I'm using my brain enough. So I picked up Nubatama, and now we're here. So, whoop-de-doo. So, yeah, this is Premium Nuba. Let's get right on into it. I'm going to go over the G-Zone first. Because, main deck is literally just it's basically the standard build with about an 8-card difference. So starting off, 2 Magen Tenbu, because it's Counterblast 1, dominate something. You know, simple enough. It retires the thing at the end of the battle. You know, it's a first stride, that's for sure. And then 2 Bujin Lord, because it's a massive board dominate. So you Counterblast 1, flip a copy. Choose up to the same number of cards. Hold on. I lost where I was. Choose up to the same number of any player's rearguards as the number of face-up cards in your G-Zone. And they get 4k. And until end of turn, stand all your opponent's rearguards that were chosen and dominate them one at a time. You know, your opponent's had 4 cards and you chuck a Mugen Lord at them. That's pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. It's pretty good. 1 Mukuro, because dominating your Vanguard while they have like a full board, pretty good. Gaining their Twin Drive, pretty good. Oh, 1 Dagoku, rarely comes up, but you know, similar to how every stride that was made in a, what was it, Revival Collection? Was it Revival Collection? Whatever set Dagoku came out, you know, like, at least one of every stride is played in the G-Zone just because it can be, you know? Like, it's new. A situation might arise where, you know, you need it, but most of the time, you're not going to go into it. Basically, Counterblast 1, flip anything. Choose 2 G units, or your opponent chooses 2 G units that have power, so basically 2 strides. And calls them to rear, and then you dominate them. Now, Dagoku also says your opponent can't use their auto abilities. You dominate them, you attack the Vanguard one at a time, and then during that battle, their auto abilities can be used as if they were on V. Now, I've never gone into Dagoku, but I'm excited to find out what strides I can use. You know? Just simple as that. And then we don't have a Tago Lord, because the Tago Lords are money. So instead, we have some other stuff. we have this thing, whose name I won't even bother trying to pronounce. So GB2, Counterblast 1. If you have a Sure Stealth Dragon Heart, Sure Stealth Dragon. If you have a Sure Stealth Dragon Heart, you choose a card in your opponent's hand at random, bind it face down. Then if the number of cards in your opponent's hand is 3 or less, which if you're on Jamygatsu is 4, it will be, you bind all of your opponent's rear guards face up, and at the end of the turn, your opponent gets all those cards back to their hand. So if you have a full board, they're getting... It's basically like bouncing Crow, except they're not discarding 5. Except for the fact where it will be like discarding 5, because they need to go back down to 4. Is it optimal? No. Why is it not optimal? Because you're giving your opponent back basically stride fodder or rear guards that have good like on-place abilities. And it's flip fodder for Mukuro or Dagoku, regardless. But yeah, it's a cheap alternative to a Toggle Lord just every once in a while. And then we have Rakuto Stealth Dragon, also, who I won't try to pronounce. This dude's Counterblast 2. So when he attacks a Vanguard, you pay the cost. Choose one of your opponent's rear guards, bind it face up. Your opponent chooses a card from their hand, binds it face down. And if you have a Sure Stealth Dragon, Jamygatsu, at the end of the turn, put the cards that were bound by this effect into the drop zone. If you do not, at the end of the turn, your opponent puts them back in their hand. But since you're going to have a Stealth Dragon Heart, you know, it's just super simple. Ooh, excuse me. Almost just flipped over my chair for a hot second. But yeah, they're cheap alternatives to a Toggle Lord. You know, obviously, those two can be a Toggle Lord. So anybody who's about to be like, wow, you know, not even playing a Toggle Lord? Yeah, I don't want to spend $40 on 2 cards. That's just me, but yeah. So yeah, cheap alternatives. If anything, they're flip fodder. They're cute flip fodder. Uh-oh. 1 Gilgal because massive board wipe and free stride's really good. 1 Drachma because I hear putting your opponent down to 4 and then making him basically go down to 1 is really good. And then G-Guards, we run 6 of those. 3 of this thing because 15k shield during your opponent's turn, pretty good. 2 of the flips because discard 1, otherwise this card gets 20k for a free 2 to pass, pretty good. And then dominate a back row. As simple as that. Alright, now we're gonna breeze through this main deck because like I said, it's literally the standard build just with like 8 card differences. So, for Jammy, no explanation needed. You know, simple as that. For Gatsus, again, this is all explained in the standard build. I'll leave something for the standard build, whatnot. 2 Crow, because we can actually fulfill it more steadily in this build. Grade 2s. 4 Gatsu, Gales, because simple enough. 12k base, this thing, and then card difference number 1. Ungai. Basically makes 3 things 11k bases. 1 of your opponent's units, and 2 of yours. So you make your opponent's Vanguard 11k base after, you know, they checked however many defensive triggers on their Dominate, and then basically be like, nah, go back down to 11. That's pretty chill. Super simple. Grade 1s. 4 Dreadmaster, again. I think it's one of the best ride targets in the deck. 2 of that, because countercharging, pretty good. Now, this is where everything kind of starts falling into place in terms of the card changes. 2 Tengai. I don't see people running Tengai, and I'm over here being like, that's strange. However, they're not running Crow anymore. I like Crow. You know, basically being like, call it down, and then Bagen Tenbu, dominate something, having a skill live, and then slapping it in Soul, A, fuel for Crow, and then B, countercharging, accomplishes like 2 goals in the same thing. So I like Tengai, that's my thing. 2 Frog, because giving your dominated unit 6k and drawing a card and putting itself in soul, yeah, that's really good. 2 Stride Fodder, because I like Stride Fodder. And then this is supposed to be a second copy of Ungai, but when I've been playtesting and practicing, you know, I would call down the raccoon and basically be like, I'll bind the top card face down, and it would always be like while I'm on a Magen Tenbu or a, you know, like a Mugen Lord, and I'm just over here being like, okay, cool, like, I'll do it so that I can instantly, like, put a card in soul. And I would, like, bind a grade 3, meanwhile I'm over here being like, oh, dude, I just put my opponent down to 6 with Jammy. Oh, I bound a grade 3, cool, dominate, slap the grade 3 in soul. At the end of the turn, you go down to 4. You know, like, super simple, super easy. You know, I never bind 2 off of Raccoon. Never bind 2. And that's mainly just because I don't think he's ever going to survive that long. You know, but the sheer fact of it's supposed to be Ungai, and then, you know, he's actually doing something, yeah, I'll take it. Gatsu as starter. Triggers, 6 crit, but the one that slaps itself in soul is like 4 of them, so it's fine. 4 draw triggers, and then 4 heal triggers. Yeah, we're not running any counter charges in this one. I don't think this deck needs it, considering its game plan and Tengai. So yeah, that's the deck profile. I hope you all enjoyed it. Like, comment, subscribe, do what you want. Let me know what you thought. And yeah, see you all in the next video. Bye.